cancer cells in a very specific manner, delivering messenger RNA that encodes for protein.
In our research, we focused on brain cancer called glioblastoma and ovarian cancer. These two types of cancers are considered to be the most aggressive ones, and we really believe that we can treat not only these diseases, but also new avenues for new therapeutics to other cancers and other diseases.
So unfortunately, there are more than 500 different types of cancer. Some of them have unique genetic coding. And what we want to do is to use our technology to target those specific cancers. That could be specific blood cancers, it could be glioma, brain tumors, it could be heart. So we believe that a single treatment, or maybe 2 or 3 treatments, but not more than that, will probably be effective enough in order to extend survival, but also improve the quality of life.
We have specifically a new set of technologies called genome editing.
What you can do with genome editing is to target a specific gene, introduce just a small mutation there. So this could be a single base of the DNA code added or taken away. So it's a very small change, but it can be enough to stop that gene from functioning. And the final plant that we produce will only have that mutation. It will have no foreign DNA, nothing else. So actually there is nothing to ever tell you how that small mutation was ever made.
CRISPR-Cas can be used in plant breeding to improve plants in many different ways. It's a tool provided by nature, and breeders make very wisely use of the tool to apply it in plant breeding.
And as we know, the genes, they are the ones encoding for a particular trait in an organism. The genome editing technology allows a very efficient trait management for the breeder.
Plant breeders need access to more variation, genetic variation, and sometimes they don't have the variation that they need, but sometimes this variation can just be a very small change in a single gene, and this is exactly the type of variation that genome editing can give us. So it can really increase the pool of variation available to plant breeders.
In our lab we use this technique for knocking out susceptibility genes, that are genes that make the plant susceptible to diseases. So when we knock out this susceptibility gene by gene editing, then the plant becomes resistant.
The location where we're making the change, whatever that change might be, is precise. I mean, mutations happen all the time in nature. This is the basis of evolution, if you like. There's lots of mutations and lots of beneficial selection. From that point of view, we're just adding one additional tiny mutation to the huge pool of mutations.
We can use genes that make these plants more resistant, and therefore the plants are innately resistant rather than externally applying all these chemicals, which is currently also done with organic agriculture.
What are monoclonal antibodies? First, let's start with the basics. Antibodies. Antibodies are made by your body to help fight disease. When germs like viruses or bacteria enter your body, your immune system makes antibodies specific for that germ. These antibodies can help to destroy the germ or stop it from getting into your cells and making you sick. Antibodies can also help your body to recognize and attack the germ if it enters your body again in the future. Monoclonal antibodies are made in the lab and are given either by injection or an infusion to help your body fight off a specific germ. Normally, the coronavirus uses markers on its surface to attach to and get inside your cells. Monoclonal antibodies can bind to these markers to block the virus from attaching to your cells. This will prevent the virus from entering and harming your cells. As with any medicine, there is a chance of side effects. Monoclonal antibodies can cause allergic reactions and symptoms such as fever, chills, nausea, headache, wheezing, throat irritation, rash, itch, and dizziness. But don't worry, we will monitor you for any side effects. Either way, there's a chance that monoclonal antibodies can help people who have COVID-19 feel better.
By bumming you out. Everybody dies eventually. Even if you manage to avoid bear attacks or grievous bodily harm, something in your own body will go wrong sooner or later. Usually later though, since age is the single biggest risk factor for disease. Strangely, we don't really understand why our bodies deteriorate as we age, and so we don't know how to prevent it. But there are a few scientists who think they know how to stop the relentless march of time, and they figured it out by accident. The researchers in question were studying why some cells in our bodies become cancerous. They believe turning off a gene called BUB-R1 could be culprit, so they genetically engineered mice with BUB-R1 deactivated. But the mice didn't develop tumors as expected. Instead, they aged rapidly, and by the time they were just 3 months old, they had thinning hair and cataracts. The mice lost weight, developed heart problems, and died much earlier than normal. When the scientists examined their bodies, they noticed the mice had hemoglobin, a particular type of cell called senescent cells. Senescent cells were once totally normal cells, but they've been damaged where the DNA is mutated. To avoid passing that damage on to their daughter cells, they got pregnant. Start putting out signals to the immune system to come out. They're not exactly dead, but they're not doing anything either, unless you stop putting those extra signals, which you should. It turns out they can affect nearby cells and cause inflammation. If the immune system cleans up these cells, it's no big deal. But it appears that over time, the immune system stops responding and the senescent cells build up. Some people liken these cells to zombies, but to me, they seem more like grumpy retirees. They've done their job at the plant until they can't work anymore. So they sit on their porch yelling and hollering for the police to come and take them away. The police come a couple times, but eventually they stop. And soon, none of the neighbors can sleep anymore. Eventually, those neighbors retire too, and they sit on their porch screaming, and the neighborhood becomes a terrible place to live. The researchers found that when they regularly removed these cells from normal mice, the mice stayed healthier and lived 25% longer. So the researchers think that clearing out these cells could improve longevity in humans as well. But of course, it's not that simple. It's never simple. First and foremost is the problem that senescent cells vary from one tissue to another. There's no one distinct marker for all of them that a treatment can target. So the researchers are working on treatments that can target multiple markers at once. But even if you could totally cleanse out all of these senescent cells in your body at the same time, you might not want to. There's evidence that senescent cells play a role in helping you recover from injury. The same researchers that found all these benefits of removing the cells found that wounded mice healed slower without them. So scientists and doctors will have to be careful how they apply this treatment if it ever turns out to be effective in humans too. Aging is something we can't escape, but with continued research, maybe one day we'll think of old age as a treatable disease rather than an inevitable fate. If you like this video, you should subscribe. We're friendly, I promise. We've come up with all sorts of kooky ideas to stop aging, like infusing young blood into our veins. Julia covers that here. When scientists first discovered senescent cells in 1961 and suggested it might be aging on a cellular level, people called them idiots.